right, so again, my name is Allanté, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for everyone who's here today for the 5th Annual Grad School Success Summit. And if you are loving the summit, please, please, please tag me at Black in Grad School and also use the hashtag GSSS, like just 2022 on Twitter and Instagram. So like I shared, we are going to veer a bit from our originally planned schedule, but it's okay. We're flexible. Grad schools like that. And I'm going to be presenting to you all today about surviving on a stipend. Let me know with a thumbs up that you can see my screen now that I've switched to another service. Okay, perfect. All right, so I hope that you enjoy this session. I know that when we are in grad school, the price and the cost, the expenses of grad school is something that we're always thinking about. Additionally, we're also typically cash strapped if we're in a program that we're fully funded. And even if we're working, maybe we're taking a job that keeps us more flexible. So maybe we're not making the income we want. Either way, it's tight over here, and we're going to talk about surviving on a stipend. Okay, so I want to first ask you all, like, how are you supporting yourself through your graduate program? Are you using loans? Do you have family members supporting you? Are you working, like I shared? Have you secured some sort of internship or fellowship that supports it, or like the intern or external from your university or from somewhere else? So I'm seeing quite a few answers in here. I see TA-ships. Some folks are working. Some folks are, doing a balance of loans and parents, internal funding, fellowships, work, loans, self-pay, full-time and pay out of pocket, loans, working, some VA/GI Bill. That's awesome. I know that keeps you at least more comfortable. Housing allowance, loans and working, GA. Some people are full-time paying. And so there's a lot of different ways that we can pay for school. None of them are right or wrong, but what we are going to talk about today is the expense of it all. So for those of you all who are have a graduate assistantship or a TA, so a teaching assistantship, or even a graduate research assistantship, which was how most of my research was funded, and then how I was paid a stipend while I was in graduate school. But it's been bumped up since I probably did this. It's probably closer to $40,000 now due to inflation and some really great organizing from a host of universities and graduate students really making, advocating for themselves for higher pay. But the reality is still that it's low. And there's also a lot of different scale as far as disciplines, from humanities to social sciences to physical sciences, and what that means around your stipend payment. So today I'm going to talk about how to make those dollars stretch. And let me tell you, I know something about making a dime and a quarter out of a penny. So really quickly, I want to know, tell me what's the one thing you can't live without while you're in school. For me, when I was in graduate school, my Friday night sushi order was like peak luxury, okay? Because that's what I could afford, but it really brought me joy. But I also enjoyed traveling. Later on, I enjoyed getting my nails done because I was looking at my hands while I typing my dissertation. Maybe it's your home and the space you're in. Maybe it's going out with friends. Maybe you are a coffee connoisseur. I know we have some literal coffee scholars in the space today. Working out, hair, self-care. Drop an emoji in the chat. Let me know what's the thing that you cannot live without. The one thing, okay? Pick one. So I can't see multiple emojis in here. I need one emoji per person. All right, I see coffee. Yes. I see, bike. Yes, I love that. A nice bike. Yeah, those actually cost a pretty penny too if you have a really nice bike. I see a burrito. I see Audible. Yes, I love that. Coffee, lots of coffee. Salsa dancing, I think. Yes, I love this. Tacos. Yes, a Taco Tuesday. What is a week? Pedicures. We're not going to talk about what my feet were looking like in the pandemic, okay? I see more coffee, glass of wine, luxury apartment, cute Ari Lennox song, you know, all the things that we enjoy. And the reality is, again, there is no right or wrong answer. I see a shrimp in here. There is no right or wrong answer, but the first bit of advice I'm going to say to you all is figure out that one thing that you enjoy, that you like, it just brings you joy, cannot live without, and then cut everything else out mercilessly, okay? I read this book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, probably around the beginning of my PhD program. And I think it was really helpful in a very like straightforward way of thinking about budgeting. Of if there's one thing that you know you need to have $20 for your Starbucks every single week, having that budget established, and then being okay with maybe you don't have the best apartment and it's not brand new and fancy with the dishwasher and a washer and dryer in it. Maybe instead you now get to travel like 1 week in a month or 1 week in a quarter because you've cut back some of those expenses that are like in your day-to-day. And I think that's really helpful in a very simple way to approach the beginning of creating your budget and surviving on a stipend. Is the reality is, with the amount of money that we're making, it's not going to be a luxury apartment and nails and hair and trips every weekend and, you know, having a ball with the friends every single time they call. Not to mention we're busy with school, but like this is just the reality of that. We kind of have to pick a thing and cut out mercilessly. And I'll say this on the other end of the now being done with my program, having been thinking like this, like something that really wasn't a big priority for me was like my housing. Like I lived in the studio for the last 3 years of my program. Before that, I actually had roommates. I did that also to invest in Black in grad school to give me a little bit more wiggle room. But I also picked a location where cost of living was reasonable with what we were making in the stipend, right? I lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if you're in a place that's really expensive, really pick a thing, and it might have to be housing simply because of the nature of the beast of the place that you're living. And of course, housing costs are climbing all over the US. All right. So let's look at someone who might make $26,000, because I saw someone in the chat say that at their university, the education program stipend was $20,000. So this is not even still far off in today's environment and for a graduate student that's starting their program in 2022. So let's look at someone who's making $26,000. And so the ballpark of what I've read and what I recommend, and, you know, might not be fun to think about, but housing being like $650. Right now, that means you probably have a roommate. That's just the reality, you know, but if your utilities are included, maybe you could use that $200 that's for your utilities as 10% and bump it into your housing. For food, 10%. What I recommend is lots of Aldi trips, maybe not Instacart every time if you can avoid it, but if you maybe pay for the membership or have a family member pay for it, that could become affordable as well. Keep your transportation costs low. At a lot of universities, they might offer public transit, either free or reduced. That's the case at, actually, I think all 3 universities I went to from undergrad through my PhD. I also was in like I'm gonna say obscure, but like smaller, mid and smaller cities. So I know if you're like in LA and New York, that might not be the reality, but there probably is at least a reduced rate. So even if you have a car, which I had a car in my program, keeping your car note under that number, which I actually did, and then having not even using your car most of the time, taking public transit to keep your costs low is important. Medical and health, I don't know how much or what the situation is at your school. At mine, we were responsible for our insurance costs, but we had a payment plan, so it was roughly $100-$200 per month. If you have credit card debt, put something on it. It doesn't have to be everything, but something to keep you there. Spend a little bit of money on yourself, $200, recreation, savings, right? And this is just a general idea, but a good kind of framework as far as percentage wise for how you can break down your stipend, and feel free to screenshot this or take a picture and post it online. Okay, so I saw 3 coffees on here. I saw tacos. I saw this. But please tell me in the chat, like, or you can just think about something that you can give up, right? So I know someone put a luxury apartment. If that's the one thing, that's fine. But if you looked at you know what your budget's going to be coming in, and that might not be the reality, it's okay also to just go ahead and give that thing up, right? If it's a boutique gym, maybe it's time for Planet Fitness just temporarily, or going to your campus gym, even better. If it's, lately I've been reading about like curly cuts or a hydrate and set, which is a wash and go at a salon at like $125. Okay, maybe that's once a quarter. Maybe it's not every 2 weeks. So, just thinking about different ways and different things that you can give up that maybe aren't going to be the biggest priority for your mental health and wellness while you're in your program. Okay, so another thing I want to offer as a strategy is rethinking how you pay your bills. So this is something I also did, like definitely the first 2 years of my program, is like you always want to pay on time, but splitting your bills up if you're getting paid bi-weekly. So that means on my first paycheck, I'm paying half my rent, half my car note, half my insurance, half my credit cards, half, right? And the second paycheck, I'm paying the other half. And that might keep your cash flow a little bit more consistent, so you always have a little bit left over. Because say you have money coming in or bills coming in all the first of the month, and you can look up and that can eat up your stipend, okay? That has happened to me. That has happened to me before. I remember I used to get paid once a month during my master's program, and the whole amount, of course, was in my account. And like the next day, all my bills hit, and I had like $10 left. And my mom, I'll never forget. So my mom and I still had like a joint account, or like an account she could see. She's like, "Oh my gosh, did you get robbed or you did get scammed? Someone take all your money?" I'm like, "No, I just paid my bills with my little stipend." But maybe if you're bi-weekly, at that time, like I said, I was monthly, you can use this to balance and have a more consistent cash flow for yourself. Okay, so I want to know, how are you all managing your money? I see a sad face emoji. It's kind of funny. Do you like cash envelopes? Do you use apps, or are you using spreadsheets? Let me know in the chat what's your approach. And also, I meant to mention, if you have any questions while we're going through this, feel free to throw them in the chat too. I keep it open to look at it. All right, I see mint, pen and paper, cash only. Yes, all right. I see a nice little variety. I will get to this question too. Old school pen and paper in my calendar. Okay, that's a new one for me. Someone else looking for something they can stick with. That's real. And that's real. So there's a lot of different options. There's no right or wrong way. Excuse me. The most important thing is to track your money. That's what's most important. As long as you're tracking your money in some way, shape, or form, I think that is the best. Someone asked, are there any good budgeting apps or templates y'all would recommend? I think someone did put a Mint in here. People are saying pen and paper. I actually have a recommendation right behind me. I recently went through a free program called Clever Girl Finance, which I would highly recommend to everybody. It's 50 free personal finance classes. And one of the things they recommended is a Clever Fox budget planner. So this is what it is. And I'm not gonna show you my actual business. Let me find a blank page. So this expense track, it has like a monthly budget. It has an expense tracker, and a little bit of space for each month to kind of work through things. Okay, so this one is like, I still use it, even though it's a monthly budget, I use it for my paychecks. So I don't know if you can, I'll have to take my blur off 1 second. Well, you won't be able to see, but in here, there's like your goals, your checklist of things coming up, upcoming purchases, bills, income, savings. And then over here is like where you put your line items, how much you budgeted, how much you actually spent, and the difference that you can kind of clear out at the end of each paycheck or month, however you decide to use it. And there's like blank pages. It's really cool. It's called Clever Fox, and I can share this online actually. I'll put it on my Instagram story after this. So again, there's no right or wrong reason, no right or wrong about how you do it. The most important thing is that you're keeping track every week. All right, you can't see this, I'll read it for you. I don't keep up with Mint. I don't like the cash envelopes. I always take the cash out of whichever envelope, but I love a good spreadsheet. That's still true to this day. I have recently downloaded Mint again. I have tried cash envelopes, and I did exactly that now. This is what I think I wrote this in 2017. That is still true. But I love a good spreadsheet, and I made a new one actually more recently that just kind of corresponds with what I write in here. Because I do find that writing helps me like remember things and stick to them. So I like to write it down, but I also do keep a spreadsheet. So whatever works for you is fine, but pick something that you're gonna stick with. All right. Another strategy to help you with your budgeting is budget to zero. Here's the reality. We have limited funds, and so you might as well give every single dollar that comes into your account a place to go. That is going to be really helpful. And so here's what I recommend. This is what I've done. All of my program is have a checking account for your bills. I personally use a credit union through the university from my master's program, a checking account for fun. So, sorry. Oh gosh, hold on, let me go back. A checking account for fun. So that's another account that I use, and I'll share in a second, where that's where my groceries go, my gas goes, my fun money. And then I have a savings account, and I'll share my savings account. I absolutely love it. I feel like I can't tell people about it enough. It's like literally my favorite resource for personal finance. Okay, so that's over here on the left-hand side. This is Smarty Pig. This is a savings account that I use. It's an online high-yield savings account. And the cool thing about this is you can actually create mini goals within the savings account. So you can have saving towards, like here, this person's saving towards a family computer, but you can save your emergency funds in here. You can save for Christmas, you can save for a trip next year, you can save for a car note, you can save for car trouble, you can save for whatever you want. You can make a new savings goal and put your money in it. And so what I did in graduate school, I was always made sure I at least had my emergency fund, so $1,000 emergency fund at minimum. And then as that was established, every time if nothing happened, hopefully that month, every time I put my savings in, which is, $100, $200, $300, then I'm moving it towards those other savings accounts. So again, this high yield savings account is called Smarty Pig, and it's totally free to sign up, and you can move money between your accounts. What I love about this account is that also this money takes a while for you to get to it, right? Like having a checking and savings where your savings is like easily transferable, you're more prone to, unless you're super disciplined, which I know some of you scholars are, but you're more prone to immediately transferring that money because it's right there. Like, oh, I'll just transfer this $500 back into my account because I saw these shoes I want, right? And I've been grinding and I want some shoes, which you deserve, but you can save for. And so I really like this savings account because I can't even make any hasty decisions with it because I'm never going to get the money any sooner than 3 days from me transferring it back into my account, and actually vice versa. So even if I send money to this account, it takes about 5 days to settle into the account. And that also kind of like means I can't go back and use it. It like just kind of helps keep me disciplined. And now on the right-hand side is my fun savings account. My fun checking account, which is Capital One 360. Capital One 360, I also discovered through the book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And it's a really great free online account. If you live in like they're starting to have more Capital One cafes. So that's their branch. I have yet to live in a place that has a Capital One branch, but I can deposit checks. I can't deposit. I think you can actually now, like I think as of like the last 3 months, deposit cash at a CVS pharmacy into your account. And they have a really great ATM system where getting cash out at Target, at CVS, at Walgreens, at pretty much any convenience store is surcharge free. So I've been really successful with this account. And also here you can have these multiple savings accounts. I use that like to move my gas and groceries, maybe to balance it for my 2 weeks of pay between another paycheck. But otherwise, I don't really use that feature that much because I put all my savings into the Smarty Pig. So these are two things I think are incredibly helpful. And again, breaking down those goals from emergency fund. Again, you all know Christmas is coming up. Figure out how much you want to have, start saving it, right? After you've saved your $1,000 as your basic, 500 if you're just starting, 1,000 I would say is your next stretch for your savings fund. And believe me, it comes in handy. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about, just quickly, because it's not my strong suit, but I think it's still important. And I think that we as graduate students kind of assume or like count ourselves out of certain things because of the amount of money we're making and waiting until we're out of our program to start doing some investing. But I would really recommend don't wait. Even if it's $25, $50, $100 a month, if it's using your like a digit, like one of those round up accounts and moving that money into an investment account, whatever it is, start investing. At the beginning of my program, I will never forget, I bought Crocs stock. I don't even know why. I don't even own any Crocs, but I bought Crocs stock for, I want to say like $12. And I just kept buying it because it was so cheap. It's all I could afford. So I just kept buying Crocs stock every time I put my like 25, $50 in. And so I end up having like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 shares by the end of my first year. Well, over the pandemic, Crocs really skyrocketed. I think it got up to almost $130 or $40 a share. And so all of a sudden I had like $3,000 in my account because of the little bit of money I spent a couple years ago, right? And so I share that bit because that's probably the thing I've invested in, and I'm wanting to get better now that I am done with school. But I am happy I did something, right? Like, we don't have to start from zero once we're done with school. We can at least put ourselves closer to, a positive net worth, as close as we can, right? Beyond the student loan debt that we'll all have, to create income for ourselves and to create wealth. So grab a book, learn a bit, and it's okay to start small. That is fine. So I already mentioned this, but some tips for saving money. My favorite grocery store, I said I would never be too good for Aldi, okay? Ever. Because Aldi is affordable, even though the eggs have gone from 89 cents to almost $3 due to the inflation. It's still cheaper than a lot of places. But another place I really enjoy and recommend is also a great like fun activity is going to farmers markets. You can really get your bang for your buck at a farmers market, and maybe not go to Whole Foods for everything. If there's a certain specialty item that you love and you need it to be organic and clean and all that, okay, go to Whole Foods, but maybe not make that your main shopping place while you are on a budget, especially something as restrictive as a stipend. Another tip, don't lend out money. Here's what I had to say to a friend. I cannot, right now I can't help. No, sorry. I wish I could, but I can't right now. I wish I could, but I can't. Especially money that you need back. If you need it back, do not lend it out. I know a lot of us are also, maybe we're the first in our family to have this level to pursue this level of education. Even in that, whatever jobs we've had, we might still be a high earner in our households or in our family unit, even if we're not living with these folks or these people anymore. But what I would recommend is just like, this time is one where you are focusing on yourself and the plans that you have and the professional goal that you have. And with that is also the financial piece. Someone's making a joke in the chat, but the financial piece of like, I just don't even, not that I don't want to help, but right now I'm not in a position to, because the stipend is restrictive, right? We are living barely above the poverty line. And I will echo the sentiments in here. ma'am, you know, I'm in school. Why are you asking me for money? And the nerve in this economy, seriously. But I just want to give you kind of some encouragement around, like, if you say, I can't let you lend any money, you know, but pick your number, you know, like, I think for me, like, if you ask for more 50 bucks, like, I ain't got it. Love you though, you know, you got to send it off like that. All right. So some other things that, you know, are maybe obvious to y'all, but in case you didn't know about uni days, for example, my Apple Music subscription is still it just went up, but it used to be $4.99 my entire program. So that's through uni days. So if you have not signed up, go to uni days. They have a lot of discounts, like consistent discounts for clothes. Like ASOS is always like 10 or 15% off through uni days. I think also, like I said, my Apple Music has been $5 for the last 4 years, and I'm about to send them that CMU email one more time to continue that. Don't forget about Amazon Student Prime, right? That also giving price lower, and just pull your card out as much as you can, okay? Use it until they say you can't use it anymore. Just keep using the card, get the discounts, do not be above it. And even in your local area, you might also, for as far as activities, you might have, what am I thinking? You might have free museum visits. One through Bank of America, I believe Bank of America cards, and also through your actual ID. So for example, in Pittsburgh, I could go to the Andy Warhol Museum for free. I could go do these things. So I love a friend like, oh, let's go to the museum. Happy to, because I'm not spending any money. And so you have a free fun activity while again, we're on a stipend. All right, the next thing, side hustle. Nothing wrong with making a little money on the side, okay? Maybe not that much, but I can share this resource as well at the end of the summit about some side hustle ideas, some things that I've done. I've been tutoring. I used to host Airbnbs. My first year of my PhD program, I actually had my bedroom as an Airbnb. What else? There's a couple more in here, but there's just some great options for you to think about ways to create a little bit more income. One thing I'd also say is, you know, you can also consider just asking for another TA-ship. So that's something that I've done during my program. So yes, I was a graduate research assistant, but I also, the semesters I wasn't in my required teaching course, because we had a different structure at CMU where you had like a required teaching every semester, but the semester that I was off, I would TA for a professor who had like an innovation and technology class, and it was like an extra $400 or $600 in my paycheck every 2 weeks. That came in handy, okay, for sure. So that I could do a little bit in the summer. Maybe if my friends were traveling, I can make it to one trip, you know. So, and I can always go home. That was something that was important for me at the time as a caregiver doing my graduate program, like having gas money to drive home to see my grandfather. So that is a wrap on our first session. I'm so happy to answer questions. Please keep throwing them in the chat, and I'll take a swing at them. So Lauren asks, what all is involved in being a TA? I've always been a little unclear on that. So I hate to answer it so generically, but it really depends. So it depends on the professor that you have. It depends on the university you're at and kind of the environment, the culture there. For me, being a TA, specifically for like that class, and I can provide some more examples of other classes, but for the class where I was like getting paid extra, it was actually doing attendance every single day. So I had to go to class. I think it was like an 8 a.m. class. I had to go to class. Each day they had class. I had to do all the grading, and then I had to maintain their like Canva, as well as I need to maintain their Canva, and then they had like a capstone at the end of the semester, and I was responsible for like meeting with each team once. Now another class was just office hours, and that was my only responsibility, was office hours. And another class was office hours and grading. but I also know folks who will teach, that will teach the whole course, you know, and the professor will send you the slides and you teach. So, I mean, it just really depends. So a great question I love to ask is, what's expected of this role? What are you expecting me to do? That way, that person will articulate what they need, and you can determine if you have the capacity for it. Next question from Chelsea. How do you feel about a job at an agency part-time? I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you have space and time to do it. I tried to do, if I did any extra work, it was work that either I really enjoyed, like Black in Grad School, or something that just wasn't very mentally intense. So if this agency job is like a call center or, you know, typing up papers, you're just kind of a little bit mindless, that's my preference for what I'm going to be participating in while I'm busy with grad school. Like if school is so time consuming that I kind of just, if I'm going to do extra work, it can't take too much mental bandwidth. Next, oh, okay. Sarah says, not a question, but her identity was recently stolen. And so she says, and she learned the hard way to freeze your credit, y'all. Actually not familiar what that means to freeze one's credit, but Google it. And if that happens to you all, do it, okay? I don't see any more questions in here right now, but I'm around. I hope that session was helpful for you as we kick off the Grad School Success Summit this year. I'm super happy to be doing this. Actually, like, it was very fulfilling to do this session. Oh, all right. Someone says go to Experian and turn it off for credit, to turn off your credit or to freeze your credit. All right. That sounds like almost as easy as a button. But I'm so excited to be here. Our next session is going to be amazing. Like, Lee spoke last year at the summit. She was amazing then. I'm like so excited about her session about therapy. I think that's so critical while we're in grad school. I'm a big proponent and participant in therapy. And I just want to like highly recommend you all hang around for that session. I'm gonna answer or read this next comment and I'll turn off our recording. So Ms. Fuller says, if you have a credit card, check for perks. Some Chase cards give Instacart membership, DoorDash membership, etc. So that's a great another option for you all if you have credit cards. I'm trying to think, is there any other thing that I want to recommend? So I'll just go back over the resources really quickly. Clever Girl Finance, amazing. Love it. A book I recently read, and I feel like everyone's getting sick of me talking about in my personal life, is Get Good with Money by Tiffany the Budgetnista. Such a good book if like you, like, for example, my parents didn't, my mama used to say to me is, you're gonna have good credit, okay? And just yelled it at me from like 5 to 18. Didn't know what that meant, what it means to have good credit, what it means to actually maintain good credit. And so I love the book Get Good with Money because it was really helpful in like breaking down each step beyond budget, debt, you know, credit repair, building a retirement, you know, creating wealth through other tools, investing, life insurance. I mean, she goes through it all. And I just think it's a really good book and it's pretty straightforward. It probably took me like a week and a half to read, and I just kind of read leisurely. So that's a resource I really want to recommend. I will send out the side hustles for grad students and my accounts that I really love, Smarty Pig and Capital One checking, and then a credit union, your local credit union. Again, that book was by Tiffany the Budgetnista. She's a personal finance guru expert on social media. Her book is really good. I was a bit hesitant to get it at first because sometimes the internet people can be meh, but no, it was solid. It was really good. So if you're just joining us, hi and welcome. So happy to have you. We are wrapping up our first session. We have another session happening in about 15 minutes, but feel free to hang out on here. People want to introduce themselves, want to say hello and connect. I would love to see that. If you want to jump off mute, just say hi. That would be cool. All right, I'm gonna stop recording. Mm.